There are surely as many different forms of Satanism as there are Satanists. However, I find that most Satanists are mired in Levian, Crowleyan, or some other satanic authorities' ideals. If that works for you, fine. The fact that most of these people claim to be so elite and superior while shackling themselves to a Bible, for which they usually chide Abrahamic followers for doing the same, is hypocritical at best, and is usually a product of listening to far too much black metal and watching far too many Rob Zombie films, in my opinion. If you challenge a modern Satanist with this fact, they will more than likely take great offense and spare no words in trying to reduce you to a simpleton that they can once again leer over. This only illustrates the insecurity of most Satanists, and also explains why most abandon their beliefs and title before the age of 25, as they are unable or unwilling to challenge their own beliefs. It's easier to simply abandon their time as a Satanist as the phase that I went through. Challenging everything in life is a basic tenet of Satanism, and seemingly the most paramount. However, woe to the person who dares challenge most Satanists. To approach everything with an agnostic point of view and engage in reasonable and respectable debate is a hallmark of Satanism. Take nothing at face value, accept no singular truth without ample consideration, and be willing to accept change. The reason we call ourselves Satanists is because of the archetype of Satan or Lucifer, who dared question an absolute and infallible authority for his own gain. It is in this act that we find our strength. However, as Satanists, we must be able to accept and embrace change as we learn and grow as humans. The pursuit of challenging our beliefs must be paramount if we are to develop Satanism beyond what it is into an eruption of possibilities. Those Satanists who do not have this ability are merely trading one set of infallible tenets for another. Thus far, the reason for choosing the title of Satanist in the majority of cases lies in the archetypal identification. However, it's important to note that most educated and intelligent Satanists will likely agree that the archetype is synonymous with Prometheus, Maui, Loki, Melek-Taus, Maya, Mara, and countless other mythological figures throughout history and cultures. Those who acted in humanity's best interest or their own, instead of following a higher deity's selfish or jealous motives. Over the past several years, there has been a movement within many satanic communities to move away from the dreaded S word and use other titles to describe their beliefs. Specifically, I'm speaking of the WSA, Cult of Cthulhu, Them, and even back to the ONA. While I'm not affiliated with any satanic organization, I consider myself primarily an Ophidian Suitheist, which is an esoteric and metaphysical expression of modern Satanism based on some of Anton LaVey's philosophies, among many others. Are those organizations that choose to disassociate themselves from the word Satan an affront or a natural progression? I'm certainly not qualified to answer that one. However, titles are not important. It's the philosophy behind them that matters. To the adept Satanist, Satan himself is an unworthy symbol. For the most obvious example, among many, go read the book of Job in the King James Bible and find out a different definition of Satan, biblically speaking. But back to Ophidian Suitheism. No official church exists to represent Suitheistic philosophy, nor is there any official internet presence with regard to Ophidian Suitheism. In my experience, practitioners of Ophidian Suitheism are inherently solitary, and an exact number of them are not known. At one point, roughly between 2005 and 2008, there were a small number of people during the whole MySpace boom who were actively promoting Ophidian Suitheism under the moniker the Empire of Satan. I was a part of the EOS and can tell you honestly that we had several thousand people who were interested and interacting with us to explore and help create the meme of Ophidian Suitheism. For reasons that would take far too long to cover here, I won't get into why there is no longer an internet presence for Ophidian Suitheism. I'll leave that for another video. But back to the point. There are countless other derivative forms of Satanism out there, most of which are diluted from Anton LaVey's philosophies, intentional Christian blasphemy, or those who have vivid imaginations and are out there creating something new by taking an already established satanic aesthetic and homogenizing it into some other idealistic mythos. I've come to understand that those claiming to be theistic Satanists are much more than mere Christian devil worshippers. They are very creative people who need a great deal of psychodrama to attain their goals. Really, who am I to criticize these groups, and what possible productivity could come from it? However, I stand by my assertion that these amalgamations of left-hand path practices are not satanic at all. But that criticism, again, is for another video. Suffice to say, Satanism ideally should be based on personal development, not misdirected rage at another's faith. Satanism should be based on earned or justifiable respect, or at the very least tolerance or indifference. Alas, there are too few of us who are able to truly focus inward without having to declare fault with everything else. Thanks for watching.